Who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Leopard, King Michael. This is legit. Paranormal Clips brought to you by Legit Podcast.com. It is August 10th, 2023. It's 8-1. Let's see. 8 times 1 is let's do it this way. 8 minus 1 is 7. And then 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7, double sevens. Ha ha. Joining me as always, Buddy Money Thayer. What's up, buddy?
Good evening, Mike. It is a pleasure to see your face. It has been too long. I feel like we've been off the air for like a damn month. It's only been like a week and a half. But it's nice to be back on, be looking at both of our beautiful faces, and soon to be looking at the lovely face of Rick Lysick.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm very excited tonight, Mike, because I haven't had a beer in several days, and I came home to a surprise with my girl was hanging out in the fridge. And after working like 48 of the last 72 hours, I am over the top excited to be hanging out with my girl, Captain's daughter. She's from the lovely Grace Ale Brewing Company in Wesley, Rhode Island, and she excites me every time I see her. So, cheers.
I got to tell you, I already know that this show is off the tracks. I've had this. Just if people knew what happened right before we went on here, I could tell it was starting to get a little bit going a little crazy. But joining us from Block Island, it's Block Island Rick. What's up, Rick?
What up, boys? How we doing?
Yeah,
I'm good, Rick. Other than your comments pre-show, I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Hey, listen, buddy, I just want to tell you, I also am a fan of the Captain's daughters out here.
She's a beautiful girl, Rick. She's a lovely double IPA. If you have more than 2 of her, you're having a good day. I could keep going, but yeah, I'm not going to.
You sound like the guy from Blue Blockers, the old infomercial that went on for like 6 minutes. Hey, so speaking of clips, I spoke about this really quick last night on Legit Paranormal News, which is Wednesday nights at 8:05. Have you guys ever seen the TV show Moment of Truth?
No.
Okay. All right. So it's set in the 90s, I guess. I don't know. I just think everything's in the 90s. Whatever. It's Mark Wahlberg, but the other one. No, it's not Mark Wahlberg. It's that producer guy, Mark Wahlberg, that made TV shows. If you Google him, you'll know who he is. Anyways, they ask like a guy go up there, his wife will be in the front row with like his mom and like the wife's sister and the family, and then they start asking them questions. And and before the show, guys, just they asked everybody 50 questions on a lie detector test. All right.
Oh, I have seen this.
They choose 21. So, right?
Oh, now, my God.
Dude, I mean, so at one point it's like, have you ever fantasized about having sex with a coworker? And they're all act like it's a big deal. They're all act like that's the question, and you realize there's like 10 more questions, and you're like, oh my God.
Families have been ruined by that show. I've seen some clips of that show.
That's my point. I didn't realize how bad that show was. And let me ask you this though: what type of family that's real goes on that show?
It's somebody's bad idea, and they say, go on, it'll be fun. We'll win $10,000 or something ridiculous.
But what? Look, I don't even want to know what people say behind my back. Like I don't want to even know that stuff. Imagine you gotta go there and sit there and hear either someone be honest completely to you, or you be completely honest to them. Eventually, you're gonna see something's gonna upset just about everybody. That's a no-win show. I don't see how it's a win show, man.
And they pick the right families too. They pick the families with like the skeletons in the closets. This isn't your.
That's the other part. And then when it gets really hard, right, buddy? When they go in for the $25,000 or whatever it is, they bring out somebody from the person's past that they don't even know is going to be there, like the long lost father or the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend who asks, "Do you think I should that you should have been married to me? And she answers, yes. And you wait for the suspenseful moment, and he goes, that answer was true. And it's like, now what, guy? Now, like the dad's there and the husband's there, and it's just like the dad's like, what? What are you gonna do? I mean, like, dude, never. All right. If I'm ever asked to be on a show like that, buddy, write this down, please.
All right.
Just tell me not to do it. Tell you not to do it. Tell everybody we know not to do a show like that, because that's just meant to ruin everything. Everything. Like,
can I just throw one curveball your way? I'm just gonna say a few names really quick, and maybe you can. All right, Jerry Springer, Montel Williams, that fat girl, Oprah Winfrey, that other fat girl, Phil Donahue, Dr. Phil. They're all these shows that tell these dramatic stories, and they're all sensationalized or false because drama and sex sells. I think it's all bullshit. I'm sorry.
You want to know the biggest mystery?
Mike.
Want to know the biggest mystery, in my opinion? Now that I'm settling in right now. Let me ask you this. How many diets has Oprah Winfrey been like the spokesperson of? Like, how many different styles? No, dude, it goes like from the 80s on, year after year after year after year after year after year. There's a new diet. Let me ask you this. Why go with one of her diets? They don't seem to work. She's got to get a new one every year. She's had 100. If you've had 20 diets over 20 years, I don't think they're working. Right.
Why do you
keep switching if they're working? If a diet works, would you switch?
No, obviously.
Okay, then. All right, then. All right.
Yeah.
Buddy, what do we got for clips tonight?
All right, so tonight's guest was supposed to join us back in July. We had a little scheduling issue over here. Turns out that he had a little scheduling issue on his side and has not gotten back to me. However, we are blessed with some of his clips this evening. He was a guest on It's a Legit Metaphysical.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It was like, he had some really cool stuff to say and to share. I wanted to have him on because he had plenty of clips, but yeah.
What was his name?
Neil Farley. Neil Farley.
Can I also ask you one other question? It's a favor of mine.
By all means, Mike. Go ahead.
Can you message everybody in the house and tell them to shut off the Wi-Fi?
I shut off the Wi-Fi myself. I don't know if people in the
let them know, because you just froze one time. It's been getting better since you did that. You just started laying the load down. All those people that you have illegally trapped. I mean, sorry, the people you live with.
Right. Yeah, they live there.
Shut off the Wi-Fi.
Tell them to stop playing the Wi-Fi during
with the Wi-Fi. All right. So now, what type of clips will we be watching?
All right. Well, we have a first clip isn't from Neil Farley, but I happened to see it, and it caught my eye because it was done right before the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. It's in the battlefield park, and I don't know, they might have allegedly captured something or not. So we're going to take a look at that first, Mike.
So wait a minute.
That one is titled Gettysburg Ghost Sighting on the list.
Rick, Buddy's just hijacked the show.
Go ahead, buddy. I'm riding with you.
No guest video. Rolling with the video.
All right, we're here in Gettysburg, just before the 150th. Where should I stop?
Just pull off here.
I'm trying to film something here.
Yeah.
They said there's activity here before, but all right. So we're gonna sit here for a while and just kind of film the camera.
A lot of troops left from here.
See what happens. I was told by a ranger. Was it about in this area here, Jay, that the ranger said that there's been some activities. They heard some rumors about seeing some sightings of something that they can't explain.
There's a lot of troops that left over here, so the activity should be strong.
All right, we'll record for like maybe half an hour or so, and then we'll move our Devil's Den maybe after that.
Yeah, that'll be a good spot next.
And then over by Pickett's Charge.
Yeah, maybe we can pick up something from there.
Pickett's hard though, because I can't really. Unless we have flashlights, I guess I can shine it from the parking. All right, that's all right. We'll videotape here for a while.
Okay.
And let's be quiet though, okay? Holy crap! Down by the canyon, see that?
Oh, what is that?
Wait, shh. Oh my God. Is it?
No way. What is that?
I have no friggin' idea.
Did you get that on the camera?
It's recording.
Oh my gosh, did you see that?
Did you, honestly?
I wouldn't believe it unless we recorded it.
Oh gosh, darn boys, I don't know if I saw that, but
You see that, Jay?
ooh, I think it's trifles. I feel like a science experiment.
Hey, listen to me. The dialogue, I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. Let's be quiet. Did you get that on camera?
Did you see that, Jay?
Wait, let's see what happens. When you saw the video, didn't you see stuff? Didn't you hear stuff happen here, buddy? Here's my issue with this video, right? Can I be honest?
Shoot.
It might be just the way it's edited. So that there is an out right there. It's maybe just the way that it's edited, but it's edited and the dialogue is said in such a way that it makes a film. Like, let's just see what happens. Well, let's be quiet. I'll only stay here for 30 minutes, approximately 20 minutes later. Like, dude. All right. And then go back to the guy's reaction. Get me the second guy's reaction when he first goes, like, no way. It is.
Right, I'll try. I'll put it on. I'll try and guess it. Here we go.
All right, we're here in Gettysburg, just before the 150th. Where should I stop?
Just pull off here.
Want to try to film something here?
Yeah.
They said there's activity here before, but all right. So we're gonna sit here for a while and just kind of film the camera.
A lot of troops left from here.
See what happens. I was told by a ranger. It was about in this area here, Jay, that the ranger said that there's been some activities. They heard some rumors about seeing some sightings of something that they can't explain.
There's a lot of troops that left over here, so the activity should be strong.
All right, we'll record for like maybe half an hour or so, and then we'll move over to Devil's Den maybe after that.
Yeah, that'll be a good spot next.
And then over by Pickett's Charge.
Yeah, maybe we can pick up something from there.
Pickett's hard though, because I can't really. Unless we have flashlights, I guess I can shine it from the parking. All right, that's all right. We'll videotape here for a while.
Okay.
And let's be quiet though, okay? Holy crap! Down by the canyon, see that?
Oh, what is that?
Wait, shh. Oh my God. Is it?
No way. What is that?
I have no friggin' idea.
Did you get that on the camera?
It's recording.
Oh my gosh, did you see that?
Did you, honestly?
I wouldn't believe it unless we recorded it.
I don't know, dude. I didn't really see anything there. Nothing by the cannon, nothing by down by the fields and Devil's Den and all these areas. Right? This is like I think this is the center line of Gettysburg. It's all very active areas.
No, buddy, there was something there, but the whole thing is so fishy. It's unbelievable.
Buddy,
I didn't even see anything. To be
buddy. All right, listen. Scene. Let's just film the camera. Don't know what that means. See what happens. A ranger told us about rumors, seeing sightings of something that they can't explain, right? What you saw was a soldier come up from the cannons, all right? Because right after he says something they can't explain, the other guy, who's not... Buddy, when we do the next of our award-winning...
He's not an intelligent man.
Buddy, this is what's left of our award-winning film.
Oh, no, Mike. What did the dog eat it, Mike?
No, I smashed it. I don't know where the top part is, but...
My dog eats everything, so I understand.
Anyways, he wouldn't be in it because his lines were not delivered well. He says, there's a lot of troops that have been around this area. That's the perfect, And then, go ahead, Rick.
What about? I don't know, where should we film? Should we film here? Well, this is where the ranger said that there is stuff. Yeah.
Wait, should we stop here? Yeah. And then it's like, why did you stop there? And well, there's a ranger said this is a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Why would you ask them why are we stopping here? You just stop. No, buddy. Look, buddy. Look. Again, is it just the way that it's edited? Maybe, right? I'm being honest. But the way that it's presented, it's like.
Nope. He's our guest, Mike.
Oh, here we go. I'm good. Let's get it. Let's get an answer.
Hey,
Neil Farley. Neil.
Thank you.
This isn't Neil's video, by the way. This is just a random video.
Oh, yeah. All right. Then why would I ask Neil's opinion on this? Sorry, Neil. No offense.
It was a filler while we waited for Neil.
Neil, if I showed you a film, right? Would you be honest with me? It's 2 minutes. If you watched it, would you feel like it was edited in a way where you was set up? Buddy, play the film. Neil, I want Neil Farley.
All right, we're here in Gettysburg, just before the 150th. Where should I stop?
Just pull off here.
Want to try to film something here?
Yeah.
They said there's activity here before, but all right. So we're gonna sit here for a while and just kind of film the camera.
A lot of troops left from here.
See what happens. I was told by a ranger. It was about in this area here, Jay, that the ranger said that there's been some activities. They heard some rumors about seeing some sightings of something that they can't explain.
There's a lot of troops that left over here, so the activity should be strong.
All right, we'll record for like maybe half an hour or so, and then we'll move over to Devil's Den maybe after that.
Yeah, that'll be a good spot next.
And then over by Pickett's Charge.
Yeah, maybe we can pick up something from there.
Pickett's hard though, because I can't really. Unless we have flashlights, I guess I can shine it from the parking. All right, that's all right. We'll videotape here for a while.
Okay.
And let's be quiet though, okay? Holy crap! Down by the canyon, see that?
Oh, what is that?
Wait, shh. Oh my God. Is it?
No way. What is that?
I have no friggin' idea.
Did you get that on the camera?
It's recording.
Oh my gosh, did you see that?
Did you honestly?
I wouldn't believe it unless we recorded it.
That? No way. What is
I did
that?
see it this
No
time.
way. What is that? No way.
Hey.
Listen, Neil, have you caught any of that? The
Yes,
problem I
I
had
did.
with that was it was edited in a way where it was like, in beginning of the movie, middle of the movie. Oh, let's just stop here. Oh, yeah, hey, let's film. Oh, I heard the ranger. A ranger told me a story, didn't he, Rick? Like, I would never say a ranger told me a story, didn't he, Rick? Because what's Rick got to do with me talking to a ranger? Just saying, there's a lot of things that I'm going, I'm sorry, Neil, I'm an Italian guy. I can't help it. I'm hearing, I'm going, I feel like I'm being set up on that one. I don't know. But it could be the way that it's edited. That's why I was asking another person's opinion on, is it just edited that way because they like it that way? It's easier to digest.
You never know.
Yeah. All right, then. That's a good answer, Neil. By the way. Yeah, you must make it.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the delay. My wife ruptured her vein at the Gould's gym and spread blood all over the floor and called me up. And so I had to run. And you don't go in and out of a hospital these days in 5 minutes.
Of course not. That's completely understandable.
I came home, the dogs are starving and climbing all over my legs. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to make the show or not? So anyway, I did send you one clip. Did you get it?
I did. I found a few of yours from before that. So we have 3 clips.
Good.
One that you sent me is you just sent me. I had it best paranormal manifestation, 4.5 minutes. We'll start with that one, Mike, because it's the longer one. It's the 5-minute one. So
hold on. First off, I hope your wife gets better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's start with that. Secondly, oddly enough, if you go back and watch this now, I was saying you must be a good husband as you started to tell the story of what you just went and did. And I'm like, I came out of nowhere. It's weird that I made that. And then you said that was going on. Like, that's commendable. With my wife, she here's the call I got, Neil. I'm mowing the lawn. This is real quick. And I got a call, and it's like, hey, this is so-and-so from the Smith, Lincoln police. We're at Lincoln Woods, whatever. Your wife broke her arm. I'm like, what? How did it happen? Well, she was sitting on a bench, and then she stood up. I'm like, okay. He goes, well, she started to fall. And I said, wait a minute. If she's standing up, why'd she start to fall? He goes, I don't know, Mr. Lepre. He goes, well, she started to fall, and she decided to run to catch her fall. I said, why would you run to catch your fall? Officer goes, I don't know, Mr. Lepre. But we're here with your wife, and she broke her arm, like literally broke it, like snapped it, shattered it, like, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, when you stand up and lose your balance as a guy and you're about to fall, I just accept it. I tuck my arms in, I aim for my back, and smack, I take the fall. I've never once tried to like ballet dance my way out of a fall and just smash. And does that make any sense to anybody else? I don't. All right. So, anyways, what do we got first, buddy? What's the name of the first one?
So the name of the first one is Best Paranormal Manifestation. It's a
That's right. Come on. Come on out of the darkness. Is that you? Thank you. I see you walked in front of the door. Thank you. Can you do that again? I'll walk over to the side here. What's your name again? Can you tell me your name for this video? I appreciate if you could do that for me. Can you do that? What's your name? Tell me why you're so angry at times.
Now, Neil, we should have been fair to tell you up front. What we do is we talk about what we just saw first before we ask what we really saw, because that's just
I didn't see anything. To be honest. This is one of my original first ones, and I had a really cheap camera. It was like the very early days. You know,
too much info. Well, you're already telling us, Rick. In this, here's what I saw. Just so I'll start it off. I'll be the dumb one again. There was a
little screen too. Let me make the screen a little bit bigger too. That would have helped.
I'm
watching on the little micro screen.
Rick, there was a communication going on there, right? It seemed in the vocal clips, right? But I didn't see necessarily what was outlined of the shadow of the person's head. I almost saw like that robotic, like like
the camera trying to focus itself.
Either that or it was more of a shadow, something like in other words, if there was a person, something there, it was walking across rather than what I saw sitting there. Because if you watch it again, you'll see that stuff going on. Now, Buddy, what did you see?
I didn't see anything in particular. I was listening to the EVPs, which I thought were, for the most part, what he presented them as. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not Charlie.
Every word, but I heard like out of 4 word sentences, I heard 3 of the words for sure. So that,
on the first one, I dot because you couldn't couldn't make out the last name. So rather than just put something in there, I just put dots across there.
No, but the toughest thing.
Really, one of my better videos. I have one where a girl was kidnapped, and it goes on for a long period of time.
Look. I know this may not be your best, and as a former musician, I've had to hear "Beer for Every Man" performed at every goddamn show that we've ever done. So I get it. But what I'm saying about this is just to review this really quick, what we heard and what we saw. So, what exactly, explain to us what was going on in that room? Like, what were you communicating with? Who was that exactly?
Well, I have had the ability since a child to be able to hear, see, and communicate with spirits audibly with my ears. So I only did the EVPs so I could share what I hear in almost normal as I'm talking to you guys with the audience. It was a breakthrough for me. It was the early days. I had spent most of my life in the shadows, hiding behind the closet, not even wanting to be able to talk about this to anybody because I was picked on as a child, and it just was not something that I wanted to do. So I
Neil,
the EVPs to help you guys out.
Neil, one thing really quick. I mean to interrupt you. But here's the thing that I, as somebody out of the paranormal field, more in the podcast field, like when you play EVPs, and Buddy does this too, and it drives me crazy. When you actually put the words of what you want someone to hear first, like I'm for you play what something is said, maybe once or twice, and then the third time you put what you thought you heard it say. Because what's weird is I always hear stuff differently than like what someone else maybe is presenting. Maybe just extra words, or Rick will pick up on a word or something.
I think everybody does that.
But you ever notice when you see the words already, you're looking for those words as opposed to, you know what I mean? Just listen to
you connect the dots. You connect the dots.
I always treat EVPs in a way. Did you ever do the thing where you sit around in a circle and somebody passes a message, and then the message comes around, by the time you get to the last person, it's nothing like what the message was. And that's the way I feel like EVPs are. And I wish, but I'm trying to interpret something that I can hear with my ears to an audience, and it was the early days, and I wasn't very good at it.
No.
I pissed off a lot of spirits trying to get it done. So,
Neil, it's definitely something that's present in the room with you. That's not your voice. That's deeper. That's a different tone. It's more muffled. It's definitely something unexplained for sure.
Yeah, my issue is always with just the presentation. Like, I'm just one of those guys.
Yeah,
that's like,
I agree with you. I agree with your method in the way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Buddy. So, what do you get next of his that he is more?
Next to his is the one I'll play that's more recent. The one he sent me today. It's called. I'll play it. It's called Best Paranormal Manifestation. It's a 4-minute and 59-second video. So crack a beer for this one. Here we go, fellas.
Let me get comfortable. I don't know what happened right there at the end, but all right.
That was awesome. That was
well done. All right.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm blown away, man.
Let's focus in on It looked to me like the Italian angels we put on the Christmas trees.
It did. It looked like Annie the Angel that we hang on the top of the Christmas tree every year. I'm not trying to offend anybody.
She's not an angel, but she's an angel. As your daughter would be an angel. She's I verified all this with her aunt. What happened was I posted the pictures on Facebook, and I got a message from her aunt. It says that looks exactly like my niece, Emily. And we had conversations, and I said certain things about her loving animals and her mannerisms, and she says, that's Emily. That's absolutely Emily. So she verified.
Wait. This woman said immediately that this image that she saw that was on the ground, I'm not trying to tear away from it. I'm just trying to get the facts.
Go ahead.
She saw this image, and then she said, yeah, that's definitely Emily. Or from what you told her, was communicated.
No, she says that looks. She saw the image, and she says that looks exactly like my niece Emily. And then we had a conversation about Emily, and I mentioned the things that Emily does for us, and her aunt identified that she had a deep love for animals, and it goes a lot deeper, goes a lot farther than just the video. Okay. I have a personal relationship with this child. I did it's called a spirit rescue. I'm a licensed ordained minister, and we do spirit rescue. And Emily was one of the people that took care of our animals. When we had spirit animals that would come through, she would help to guide them. My main goal is helping spirits cross over. That's what I do.
Wait, one question.
Spirits cross over to the other side.
Emily was in charge of spirit animals, and
she helped when animals would show up. She would stay with the animals until it was time at the end of our production, at the end of our show, which was a spirit rescue event that I held every week for 7.5 years in the exact same spot, same place in the basement, camera in the same fixed position, never moved anything, never kept the toys and everything in the same place. In 7.5 years, I stayed focused in that one particular spot. And for 7.5 years, we had thousands of spirits come through. I live in a rich historical spot in Rockville, Maryland. I have 80% white quartz and underground springs. So it's the perfect environment for spirit manifestation. So wait a minute. Emily was, I've explained a little bit how Emily died. Her father was worked for a tree service company, and Emily was in the front of the cab with her brother, and she, for some reason, climbed through the window in the cab to go back to see what was in there, and her father didn't see her, and he dropped the tree log on top of her. Crushed her. She was crushed in the back of the.
He killed his own daughter. That sucks.
And like I said, through conversations, after Emily's aunt recognized her first, then we had conversations, and the more that I talked about Emily, my personal relationship with Emily, she could relate to it, and then she verified it with her mother, and her mother was on.
Now, does Emily?
She couldn't talk to me because she couldn't even talk about it. She says it's so sensitive that her mother couldn't even talk to me because it was just a tragic death that they still have today, have a hard time accepting it. But she's never come on Facebook and said, stop, don't show this or anything like that. She's very proud of all the videos that I've done of Emily. And the reason why I put that there is because out of all my relationships, Emily was the longest lasting one and the one that I have the most information about. So I thought you would find that interesting.
Now, did Emily speak to you verbally as well?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Did she say, "I'm Emily"?
Yes. Oh, yeah. But what happened was I had two Emilys. I had one Emily that was from England. And when I first started, I wasn't 100% sure it was the right Emily. I had two Emilys. So when I talked to the aunt, I wanted to make sure that I had the right Emily. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't confusing one Emily with the other and making it more confusing with her. But the more I talked about her, then I knew which Emily it was.
All right. So, Reverend Neil, I speak for what we call the DUM, the DUM, doing, understanding, much more. I need that.
I'm sorry.
I speak for the dumb. It's funny that I gotta yell this.
That's okay.
I
like the dumb.
I speak for the dumb. DUMM, right?
Yeah.
I need it broken down on a more basic level. I get these questions. First off, you just speak to people, and that's wait. Hold on, there's more than that. And Emily picked your house to show up at, and is that the only way that she shows herself in that like angel on top of a tree or that Russian doll thing where it keeps getting smaller?
Well, you saw the bigger picture of Emily. That was taken at a different time. That was taken. I actually have maybe 3 or 4 pictures of Emily. I might even have 5 images of Emily where she showed up in different events, and I was able to capture her through. All my work is done through orbs. And I know there's a lot of people that are a lot of skeptic about orbs, but I've done a lot of research, and believe it or not, in the Bible it says we come from dust, return from dust. Not geological, science.com, along with National Geographic, have all confirmed that we are made of stardust, that we are all made of stardust. Dust, your household dust, carries the exact same elements, the exact elements that are human elements, that we are all made of. Also, when you walk around a room and you scratch yourself, you drop skin. Your skin has DNA in it. Forensics have shown that DNA stays alive for 1 year. They can go into a cold case, and scrape the bed and the bed of someone who's been raped, and be able to do a DNA off of those skin cells that are dropped.
Even longer than that, yeah.
And be able to determine how that person's killed. So there's a lot of information in dust. I don't know if you're familiar with ITC, where people use water transit and to show images. That's only one part, but dust carries everything. It covers nitrogen, hydrogen. It carries water. It carries dirt. And dust is highly ignitable. So when you talk about people that losing batteries and things of that nature, well, you've got dust particles. Have you ever walked across the room and got an electric shock? You know how many volts?
Right.
That's a lot of.
They carry an electromagnetic charge of some kind.
Yes, and I don't know how many thousands of volts that is, but it's thousands of volts when you spark somebody. It's not just a little thing. So it helps to explain why batteries get drained and things of that nature. Because when you have dust and you have static electricity, it doesn't take much. Some of the biggest fires that we have are attic fires. You check with the fire department; they'll tell you that a lot of fires that they have get started in an attic, and you know why? Because of the dust.
So are you saying that dust is a conduit for orbs or to see stuff?
Dust has all the elements to manifest for full manifestation. It has all of our elements. All the human elements are in it.
So that's taking
their argument.
That's taking one of the common like pushbacks on orbs and flipping it over. In other words,
I'm not a big orb guy at all.
And then saying this why.
But I'm open to proof. Show it to me. I love.
Yeah,
I
worked for Singer, and part of the job, one of the things I worked on was vacuum cleaners, and we had to do a lot of study of dust, the chemical reaction to dust, especially if I'm doing it in a field and I'm cleaning people's vacuum cleaners. I don't want to die from something, was there. So I was the person that was in charge of sending the memos out to all the technicians all over the United States that it's okay to work on a vacuum cleaner. You're not going to die. There's some nasty stuff in vacuum cleaners. I'll tell you that. But I also learned from the scientific part that everything that we do and everything we live, the majority of the paranormal activity that people go to is not in a clean, cleansing hospital. They're in the dustiest, dirtiest places that you can possibly think of. Think about the activity that's there.
Basements are huge for activity. And think about the spider webs and the dust and all the grime that people keep in their basements year after year after year. So yeah, okay, you got me a little bit there. Yeah, I'd like to hear more though.
And then basically the basic elements. It's and in the Bible itself. But the very first chapter of Genesis says that out of God's nostrils, he created man from dust. There is a confirmation now between science and Bible that says, yes, guess what? We just figured out that 99% of us is created from stardust, is from dust. You can check National Geographic, you can just check science.com. They're confirming it. So it makes common sense that if all the elements that create a man are in dust, and all the areas that we find the most paranormal activity is in dusty areas, then there may be a coalition for the skeptic, that you've got all the chemicals, you've got the static electricity, you've got the negative ions, you've got the positive ions, you've got 101 things floating around in the air. We know, believe it or not, we know the least amount about what we breathe than we do about most things. Most people don't even understand dust. So when we had, that's my phone, yeah.
So Neil, let me ask you this. So can I instead tell my wife that it's not that I'm not cleaning the basement, it's that I'm just trying to create a more open paranormal environment?
I'm sorry. I work with an autistic child. He's calling me down. So, okay, he's done. Okay, can you repeat yourself again? I'm sorry.
I work with a couple of them.
I don't want to follow that, man. I'm out. You know what? Like, oh no, my sense of humor and that was not. I'm not following that. I can't.
Yeah, go ahead. What you said?
No, I said nothing. What did I say?
No, before the phone.
No, he was talking about his place being dusty, and
I was just making a joke about how can if I can tell my wife now that instead of not cleaning the basement, I'm just making it more paranormal friendly.
No, you're actually making it more paranormal accessible.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Okay, so all I'm saying is that if the dusty environments combined with static electricity, combined with energy, everybody knows that or pretty much most feel that manifestation comes from some form of energy. It's not just something that's just sitting there. The fact that they draw from your batteries shows that they're drawing electricity. They're drawing electrons, protons, ions. In the room that I use the room that I set up, I use ultraviolet light. I actually use a series of Christmas lights, and then LED white lights. Nice. I try to buy the best dust purification system I could put on my furnace. I used a negative ion blaster to reduce the ions, and to my manifestations were whatever you want to call it, were because of the way I set my room up. It stayed that way for, like I said, 7.5 years. Wow. I try not to move too much stuff, try to leave everything where it goes. I try to get rid of all the reflections of the mirrors and all the glass stuff that reflects things, because after a while you get, well, that's just reflection, or that's just bent light, or you're getting it's something else. It's not.
Can I tell you what the worst thing is to have, honestly, in a room is a shut off TV.
A what?
A shut off TV, like a blank, like an unpowered TV screen. To me, is one of the most. It throws off so much stuff. You always think you see images in it. Alone. I mean, just if it's shut off, you always think you see something out of the corner of your eye alone. But on top of that, it's just, there's something about, they've always said that a shut off TV, there's something weird about that reflection. And even in photos, that's something I've noticed. It's been like off thing. Buddy, tell me something.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the EVPs, right? And you're getting stuff like he just got right there. When you develop have you ever developed, I guess my question is, have you ever developed a relationship with any of the EVPs you've ever got?
Yeah, I'm not so much EVPs. I think I've developed a relationship with certain spirits in a location, because I've investigated there, or I've been there, or I've just, there's a location here in Rhode Island that I volunteer for, that I first became acquainted with through doing ghost hunting. And then over the years, I became a member of their organization, and now I volunteer with them. And I've been in the building by myself. I know I'm in the building by myself because I have a key and I have the alarm code, which there's nobody else in the building. And I've heard footsteps. I've heard voices. I've heard children. I've heard adults. So yeah, I think when you're more versed with a particular spirit in a particular location, they become like anyone else, Mike, living or dead, just become more comfortable with you.
Yeah, familiar.
More comfortable with talking to you.
So Rick, on the Block Island ghost tours, is there anything that you've come in contact with that has become familiar with Rick?
Absolutely. Just the other day, I had a tour, turned on the spirit box, and I heard first thing it said was, "Oh, it's Rick." Like they were talking to somebody else that, "Oh, it's this guy again."
Yeah, I was with the Ghost Finders crew. I don't know if you've seen Ghost Finders on Roku or on YouTube.
We actually had somebody from that show on the show on Legit Paranormal.
Right, and I spent about 3 years with them, going to different places and different sites, and almost everywhere we went, they kept mentioning my name, Rev. They call me Rev. And Rev Farley. They had so many EVPs with my name on it that it got irritating to the guy, and he stopped putting them on because they were just too many. He kind of wanted to be, a lot of these shows, these guys want to be the center of attraction, and it's my show. I want it to be about me, that kind of stuff. So, but that's because I have this long-lasting relationship since childhood. When you've been talking and communicating with spirits since you were old enough to talk and communicate with your parents, you build a relationship. And I learned that if you go from one place to another place, it's very interesting. But if you really want to find out what are spirits about, what is this whole paranormal thing about, you have to stop. You have to find a place that's very active, that's very open to you, and you stay there and you keep going there, and eventually they trust you. It's all about trust. It's all about lies and trust. They deal with the same people that we deal in reality. You can't trust what other people are doing with you, and they certainly don't trust us. If you
Rev,
trust, you have to create it.
When you say you're hearing them, is it like an audible, a sound that you're hearing, like, or is it in your head?
No,
when I say in your head, I mean like internal.
Well, nobody else can hear it, so I guess you could say it was in. If nobody else is hearing it, so then that would make it in my head. I guess you could say.
No, I didn't mean like in your head.
I could be sitting here and I hear "Hey Neil," and that's the way I hear it. I don't hear an EVP thing coming at me. I hear "Hey Neil," and like, what? And then I hear, can you help me? This one of the strangest things that ever happened is that my wife is a pretty good snorer, and they would use her voice while her mouth was open and she was snoring to talk to me through her, and I did not like that at all. Because that was like, who else is in there, and that freaked me out in the early days. I got to the point where I didn't even want to sleep next to her.
I dated some girls like that back in the day, channeling.
Oh yeah, when I first founded Ocean State Paranormal, I did it with a guy named Jared who was younger than me, had a lot of experience, and used to hear things. He's like, "Dude, did you hear that?" I'm like, "What'd you hear?" He's like, "I heard a guy's voice." I'm like, I didn't hear anything, and then I go back and review it, and right before he said, "Hey, dude, did you hear that?" You hear a guy's voice. It's like,
oh no kidding,
that's what Jared was hearing. That's like incredible,
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are joking. I'm terrified right now because now, when I go to bed, I'll be listening to the wife snoring and trying to see if I hear any kind of codes. Now, thanks, Rev, because I didn't need it all that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Now that's why I have a certain, let's call it an angle towards allowing spirits or anything else to contact me, come conversation with me. Like, had an experience at a hotel where I know something's trying to get my attention, and I'm still of the thing where it's like, no, I'm not the one that's going to help. I'm not the one that's going to spread your story. Find someone else. Like, I'm like a blackjack dealer. I'm out. And how would you shut what you have off, or at least turn it down? Because, man, I got to tell you, I could not be in my house and have certain places where I still heard voices. If I didn't have a safe spot or a couple of safe spots, ain't nothing good coming from
I just learned to basically put blinders on and not look at them, because once I made contact with them and they saw me making contact, it's like, that's contact.
That means you're seeing them.
They would be following me and chasing me around, and that would be it. So I learned to shut my ears off and close off my eyes.
Neil, we were talking audio. You just said eye contact. That means you are visually seeing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We went to a restaurant, and one of the waiters that had died 3 years later came over and asked if he could help me. And I mentioned to him, "Did you have a guy here?" And I mentioned his size and his weight and everything. He goes, "Yeah, that's Charlie. He died 3 years ago."
All right. So now, guys, is that Charlie, or is that just a replay of Charlie? Because listen, if it's really Charlie,
it could be a residual.
That's what I mean. Because if it's really Charlie, why the frig stay at work? Why stay at work? Rick?
Well, I basically ignored him as I normally do, because if I said hi to Charlie, then the next thing Charlie would say, "Well, can you help me cross over?" Because once you cross, you have the ability to cross spirits over. They pass the word around to their buddies. This guy can help us get to heaven. We can finally get back to our families. And they are nonstop. They are relentless.
But if his next question is, "Can you help me pass over?" That is not a residual.
No.
No.
So if you were worried about the fact that he's going to ask another question,
well, I don't even want to guess it between, because I had a hard time telling the difference between residuals and real. Okay, so rather than make the mistake of actually communicating with them and then finding out that they were real, and then having them follow me home, and then bringing half a dozen of their friends who God knows which guy is the serial killer, I prefer not to just even communicate. So that's how I've survived all these years. I've just, like I said, I don't look at them. I don't think of them. I try not to. I just basically ignore them.
Are there moments, though, where you're just like, "Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, give it to me," and you just let it all in?
Not since only during that rescue event, only during those films when I did the spirit rescue events. And the whole point of the spirit rescue event, first I started with EVPs. I tried this thing. I set up all the EVP. I had my Radio Shack hacks and my PS, whatever they are, machines up. And I had all those on, and I was getting in arguments with them. I was just, they were calling me asshole and all these other names. And you've heard the vulgarity. They're people like us. Hey, they're sailors and they're drunken sailors. and they're
asshole ghosts. Yes,
right. Exactly. And I just realized this was the wrong approach. I'm just not doing this right. And this is just going to invite nightmares into me. Mm-hmm. I did ask for some spiritual help, and I did get some guidance on the spiritual side. And I learned that just to let them talk, to let them say what they want to say. And then I created an open mic where I just said, "Okay, it's your turn. What would you like to say? What's on your mind?" And then I started adding like all kinds of stuff. Like I went to YouTube and found stupid jokes, and I was telling stupid jokes just to get them to laugh. It started off with a small group. A friend of mine had died. He was a couple blocks away that he died. He was cutting a tree for his mom for Mother's Day. He was standing on a bench, on a bench to cut the tree, and he didn't take any of the leaves off the tree. He just went up and said, "I'm just going to chainsaw this thing."
What's with all this tree cutting?
Yeah. So what happened was that the leafy part of the tree fell and sprung like a spring, and then the trunk part came back and hit him right in the chest and split his heart in half. They medevaced him out, and he died like 2 hours afterwards.
Wow.
So Andrew, he was one of our lead guitar players in the baby booming band that I was in. I see you over here with the guitars. And Andrew came by and said, I want to cross over, but I don't want to go over by myself. I want to bring my grandmother with me. So I sat down with him and we talked about it. And I said to him, "I do this once a week, so you have to come back. I do it on Sunday nights. We start at 12 o'clock. And I said, you can come back with your grandmother." Well, once that happened, then the next thing I know, I hear another voice. "Well, can I bring somebody? And can I bring somebody?" And it went from Andrew to 3 people to 13 people to 25 people to 50, 100, 1,000, and it just went on and on and on. So for 7.5 years, I crossed over as many people as I possibly could. Do I have proof that I crossed them over? Can I prove? No, I can't prove that they did.
So Neil, you basically had like the Woodstock of crossovers. But my question would be, why do they all need to be helped crossing over?
Because when we die, we see a light. I don't know if you've heard this story before.
Mm-hmm.
That light is the doorway to heaven. That's your opportunity to say, okay, God, I'm coming with you. But there are a lot of people that won't cross over because I don't want to leave my family. I'm a sinful person. God will never forgive me. He will never allow me in heaven. I'm not ready. I don't even think I'm dead yet, depending on how soon the situation was. There are 101 reasons why people don't cross over.
All right, but let me take my grandmother. It implies to me that the grandmother has not passed over about 20 years, right? Why? Why hasn't the grandma gone home? Like, why is she not going to heaven?
For one thing, once you miss that bus, there's not another one coming in 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or 20 minutes. It's a one-shot deal. You see that light, you go in it. If you don't go in the light, then you got to find somebody like me, a light worker or somebody or a medium that does this type of work that can help you cross over. God gave us all the ability. You could cross somebody over. You could cross somebody over. We could all cross people over. But if we don't do it all together, then they pile up on you, and it gets really scary. It gets really creepy, and can be really bad because for every 5 ghosts, one of them is the bad guy. One of them could be a bad guy. One of them could be an evil person. One of them could be partially possessed. One of them could be partially a demon. One it could be a demon. So it's a thing that you have to prepare people for. You have to protect yourself. Like before you go on investigations, a lot of people will do protection prayers and things of that nature. Or they'll do one afterwards so it doesn't follow them home.
Right.
All those things, believe it or not, do work.
Question.
But it's a real important business that has to be done correctly, or you can get really screwed. You can get yourself in trouble.
All right, but question. So you're saying I only have one chance to walk towards the light when I pass?
That's it.
I get one chance.
When you see that light, you run to it as fast as you can.
All right.
There's going to be somebody there. There might be another spirit there that says, "Oh, don't go into that light. That light's terrible. You don't want to go in that thing."
All right, so check me on this. One, I feel slighted that he would only give me one chance. Like, you built this and you expected to go towards the light in one shot without thinking about what he's got left behind. That's not my fault, my friend. I didn't build all this. Then secondly, what I would say is the Archangel Michael, what he was known for the most was obviously killing devils. But they always show him with the scale, and no one ever knows what the scale's for him. What it's for is he would go down for souls that never didn't make it through, and he would weigh you. And as long as you came up, which is my favorite part of the Archangel Michael, as long as you were 50-50, good to bad, he would take you up to heaven.
It doesn't work that way.
That was in the Bible.
You missed the point where I said everybody has the capability of helping somebody else into that light. That means everybody. That means your son, anybody that's in your family has that capability of saying, "Dad, I hear you. Let me help you find that light." God will help him bring that light back to you, and you can cross your mom over. You can cross your mom over. You can do it. Yes, indeed, you can do it.
But my point is,
believe that you can do it.
No, it's not that. My point is, I wouldn't believe that, like, they would, like, because I don't hear them like you do. So you understand that for the first part. So I don't know that they're there, Rick, right? You don't know that there's like loved ones around you. If you knew it, you would help them pass over if you had to, right? Right, Rick?
You might feel them. You may not hear them, but you might feel their presence. There are a lot of your body is full of senses. It's eyes, ears, nose. All your senses are there. You might be in the kitchen one day and feel your mom. Just all of a sudden, you feel this closeness to your mom. If your mom isn't crossing over, there's a good chance that there's a lot of people have had experience that said, "I've heard my mom," and they don't know for sure if she's crossed over or not. But if there's somebody haunting you, chances are they didn't cross over. I can tell you that right now. That's why they're haunting you, because people in heaven do not haunt you. They don't haunt you if you're in heaven. The only ones that haunt you are the ones that didn't make it to heaven.
By haunt, we mean negative, right? By haunt,
not negative, not necessarily negative, but just being around you.
Two quick questions, Neil. Two quick questions.
Sure.
So the first one, you say a ghost is in heaven, they can't haunt you. If somebody's crossed over, they can certainly come back and visit.
With permission.
with permission. Okay, and they do. Honestly, they do frequently.
There has to be a serious situation, like for instance, maybe you're a drug addict and you're killing yourself.
No, it's just like saying, "Hey, I'm here. I love you."
God, please help me. My son is dying. Can you please help me go visit him and maybe inspire him?
I don't experience something like that. I experience it like messages that I can't explain. My second one is a little bit more. Bit more involved. So over the years, I've seen like it upstairs. I watched my grandmother pass away. She died slowly of lung cancer for about 6 months. I saw my great grandfather pass away. On the other side of the family, had brain cancer. He was completely out of it.
Right.
All these people that died around me in the last 2 to 3 weeks of their lives, like my grandmother. She claimed to see her father several times upstairs, and her father's been dead since 1942. My great grandfather started speaking French again. And he hasn't. I hadn't heard him speak French in years. And he started speaking French fluently again, saying that he was speaking to his parents.
Right, and there you go. There's your connection that they've already told you that they made that connection to heaven. So they're not the ones that aren't going to cross over. They've already accepted Christ, or they already accepted God. So when that light comes, there's no hesitation whatsoever. They're already experienced that.
Families not there. Families there to cross you over to help you along. Yeah.
Yeah. The real trouble are the instant deaths, where somebody's just driving down the road and boom, a big truck runs them over and they're dead. And they're going like, oh, gee, they don't even realize they're dead. But you have to understand the strength of God in this light. It's not just a light that says, oh, here's a sign. We're at the airport. Come on over. You can come on over. No, it's a sensation that goes through your whole body and goes through your whole thing. And if whatever the reason is you don't want to go through that light is more powerful than God, his energy, then you can make that choice. God gives us all free will choice to decide what we want to do. He will never force you into going into the light. It is your choice and your choice alone. So
I just think that if my cage was rattled, say Rick whacked me upside the head with a 2x4. Next thing I know, I'm seeing birds from back in the Bugs Bunny days. And next thing I know, from there, I'm dead. And there's a light. And I got to put 2 and 2 together. I got to be honest, Neil. I don't know if I just walk towards it. I'd be like, can I ask a couple questions?
It's more than that. You have to imagine being in development. When I create the light, when I'm crossing people over, the room is you start with a small light. And you let that light get bigger and bigger and bigger until it completely surrounds you and engulfs you. Okay? And as this gets closer and closer to you, you are engulfed. I don't know how to explain it other than, maybe you smoke some good weed and all of a sudden you just realize, man, that's some good stuff. Okay.
Oh, what do you mean by that, Neil?
Yeah. Okay. When it's right, you know it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't deny it. You don't say, oh, well, I'm really feeling really good, but it's not really that good because, I don't want it to be. Well, it doesn't work that way. When you're engulfed with something surrounds you and overwhelms you and becomes you have a choice. You can go into that weed, or you can go and get yourself 5 cups of coffee and say, I don't believe this. I don't believe that this weed is that good. So I'm just going to defeat it by ignoring it. But there are a lot of people that have issues. They have things that are very, very powerful in their lives, throughout their lives, that their family. I can't leave my family. I love you, God, but I can't leave my family. I can't go. I've heard it over and over and over, thousands of times. I didn't want to leave my family. But there are hundreds of people that can help them cross over. And I did it for years and years and years and years. And it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. But it's rewarding too. Like anything else. How about the screen just did a funny thing?
Yeah, Mike had to drop off and leave us. We have one more video to play. If you have a few minutes, I'd like to play it. But to add to your point about how exhausting it is, as a paranormal investigator, I noticed that after like really intense investigations, or not even like late night, could be in the middle of the daytime, but just after really active locations, I feel other investigators feel just drained. Like some people call it a paranormal hangover. It's definitely
when you cleanse a home after a family's been invaded by. I did the Demon House in Enfield, Connecticut with the Yates. Yes. I helped put the final end to that house. After several people had been there, haunted collectors, I can't remember the guy from New Jersey. Really famous people.
Right.
Archbishop, I can't remember his name, McConnell, I think was there. Nobody could clear that house out. But once it was finally cleared out, I told the people I was on my way home. I said, when this is over, you're going to sleep for 3 days. And they did. All the kids, I said, the kids are not going to be able to go to school for 3 days. And they slept for 3 days because of the exhaustion, the amount of exhaustion. And it was finally lifted and finally
I
over.
can imagine, man. I can imagine. All right,
we get a short vision of that when we do our paranormal investigations. But when you have something like that in your house every day,
living it,
years, and it's finally gone, it's just an absolute relief.
Honestly, I worked in a location that was active, and not knowing was more than knowing. Something was going to happen. It was more scary to not know than to before I got into any of this. So with that, I'm gonna play the last video. It's 3.5 minutes. Here we go, Rick.
Let's do it.
So I like that a lot because you've got a light going into a dark room and there's a shadow there. If it was reflecting off, there's nobody else in that room. If it was reflecting off you, it would have to be shining on you. The shadow would be behind you. So I really like that one a lot. Rick?
Yeah, no, me too. And the fact that the light doesn't go through it is pretty cool too.
Yeah. It turns out that I put that label as something evil, and it turned out it wasn't something evil. It was actually residual. The house that I live in, the property that I lived on, was owned by Reverend John White, and he lived in the 1800s. He was a minister here in Rockville. I went to the Historical Society and was able to do a complete historical background on my property. There was an old Victorian farmhouse that was in the exact same spot where my house is now. And in 1898, Halloween night, Matthew White, the young boy that lived in the house, had a jack-o'-lantern on his window. Okay. And the wind had knocked the jack-o'-lantern over, and he wanted to relight it. So his father left the matches there to relight the candle. And when it knocked over the oil lamp. Okay. And he had oil lamp stuff on his nightgown. And when he relit the candle, it set his nightgown on fire. And he ran through the upper level, setting the entire upper level, setting the fire to his brother and sister. Her sister's name was Dora, and I can't remember his brother's name. But anyway, it turns out that what you're seeing there is a residual of Matthew on fire. That's his charred body is going past that room. That's a residual of the fire. I spent many years we had a lot of strange things going on. Toys were turning on in my house. My wife would call me from the beach house. I'd have to run home. She was absolutely frantic. I mean, we were living in the perfect poltergeist house. It turns out that there were 3 children, Matthew, Dora, and Francis. And a minister, a black minister, was there watching. He was the caretaker in the house that John White had owned. He was the person that worked there. John White was an abolitionist, and he worked with the Underground Railroad. The black gentleman was from West Virginia. He's a 3rd-generation cave builder, and he helped build a tunnel for the Underground Railroad that was underneath my house that stored something like 60-some people. Okay, and so what happened is that when the house caught on fire, his wife and them, he tried to run upstairs. He couldn't save them. And John White is a war hero. I've got documentations of his war record, honored, respected. And so when he suffered from PTSD, which they didn't know back in the 1800s what that was, but it was too much for him to bear the loss of his children. And his wife and him both agreed they couldn't live with each other. So he shot his wife. And when that happened, Leroy Wilson, some names are coming to me, I'm terrible with names. Leroy Wilson, the caretaker, came out with his shotgun, and they shot at each other, and Leroy killed him and buried the entire family under my house. So for years, I couldn't take showers because I kept getting nauseous and sick in my shower because they're still buried underneath this house. Wow. One day I had a deck put in, and they hit this concrete slab, and it turned out it was a water trough. And it turned out that Leroy said that he built that water trough as a household use for washing dishes and washing clothes. And Matthew told me he told me his funny story. His mother used to bathe him in that, and one time he pooped in it. He was just really sharing everything with me. And Leroy said, "Yeah, I built the thing, and it didn't work really as well as he would have liked it to work. But it basically, I have like 25 or so underground springs. I had a GPS, a ground penetrating, a GPR machine done, ground penetrating radar." And they determined that there was a tunnel in the house, but that there was some structure. It wasn't necessarily a tunnel, but it showed a structure. And that structure leads from my house to a creek that's been buried by the Army Corps of Engineers that leads to Rock Creek Park, which is the oldest state park in the United States. So that, and they have tours for the Underground Railroad where you can take these tours and follow where the slaves went right past our house. And right in.
That's amazing, dude. That's absolutely amazing.
So I thought I'd just share that story with you. So it wasn't an evil thing. It was his charred body of a 10-year-old boy. That's what you're saying.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Neil, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. We unfortunately we got to wrap up. We got another show, Paranormal 101 coming on. We kind of have to make room for it. But that's anything that you'd like to plug, anything before the end of the show?
I don't plug anything. I don't plug anybody or anything. I just do my thing.
And you can be found on YouTube.com under Neil Farley, your name, yes?
Yes, that's fine. If people want to see the other videos, I got a ton of videos up there. If they want to see some of the other, I got some pretty amazing stuff. You can catch me on Facebook. I'm there on Facebook also. You just type up Neil Farley and you'll find me there on Facebook. There's incredible pictures, all from dust. Some things that if you look at those, come on my Facebook shop and look at some of the images that I've gotten from dust, and you might just sway a little more to my direction. So,
I was looking today as you were turning the images a little bit, and you can definitely see a face in some of these photos. It's pretty, Rick. I would highly recommend checking it out.
I'll definitely check it out.
It's definitely interesting as a paranormal investigator, Neil. It's interesting. Having good people like you on to come and bring what you got and show us what you're doing, show us how you're doing it, because everybody seems to have a different method these days, and everything is pretty fascinating.
Just remember, there's no one path to the paranormal world. Okay,
absolutely.
Okay, so accept other people's directions and other people's paths. It may not be yours, but give them some credit that everybody has their own way.
Right.
Awesome.
Right. Absolutely.
Rick, right, John, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Sorry to give you a heart attack about not getting here on time, but
Neil, it's been phenomenal, Neil. Don't even worry about it, dude. And you were great on Metaphysical, so I figured you'd be good tonight as a guest on Paranormal Clips. Rick, is there anything you'd like to say to wrap up?
We got a paranormal weekend coming up. Mr. DeChesney is going to be out here. Bunch of cool folks are going to be out here. We're going to be having some fun. So if you're available the weekend of the 25th, 26th, book your tickets now because it's going to be a blast.
Well, let me just add by saying that if you don't know already, that the website to go to is
BlockIslandGhostTours.com.
Are you on Facebook at all?
Proprietor of the.
I am.
Yeah, we're all on Facebook.
Okay, under what?
He's the best way to find me is Block Island Ghost Tours.
Okay, very good.
Rick will show you New Harbor Island Tour, Old Harbor. That's a lovely statue of Rebecca. He has a lovely magic show by is it Rob Martin?
Rob Martin.
Club. So, dude, honestly, I still tell people every day. I'm like, I was expecting like a guy pulling out a rabbit out of a hat. I was sitting like 6 inches from this guy, and I couldn't tell you how he was doing that shit with that cup and that ball, and still blows my mind when I stay up late at night thinking about it. So
it's funny because people don't get it unless you see it. You know what I mean? They're thinking the old hat and the rabbit.
The guy with some cards or something. No, I mean he's got cards, but he's got a whole lot more to come. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. Go to Block Island, go to Club Soda. It's one of the best dive bars in all of New England. Spirits with Spirits sounds like a good time. And like Rick said, if you're available August 25th, 26th, the weekend, we are having our final paranormal party weekend. Friday evening, we're having a VIP meet and greet. Saturday, events hosted by King Mike. You'll start at 2:30 with tarot readings and possibly table flipping with McNally, T. McNally. I can't remember her name. I'm sorry, dear. It's been Tony McNally. It's been a long week. Anyway, McNally, she's great. She's on Facebook. Look her up. Rob Martin's Magic Show, of course. After that, then the Best Ghost Tour on Old Block Island with Rick Lysick. And our guest speaker, Chris DeChesney, a.k.a. the Ghost Boy of Tedesco, will get up and give a riveting. I've heard his story a dozen times, and every time it's more and more riveting because there's passion, there's emotion. It's a guy who experienced the paranormal, unexplained events at a very young age, and it was absolutely gruesome. And it was a life-changing event. Then there's a lovely scavenger hunt. I'm not really sure what that entails. And then join everybody gets together at Club Soda for the after party at 9 o'clock, where you'll find me pretty intoxicated by that point. Buy your tickets on BlockIslandGhostTours.com right here. Right there. That's it. So that's what we got going on, boys and girls. For King Mike L., who ran off to do another show. For Rick Block Island, Rick Lysick. For Neil Farley, it's me. It's Buddy Thayer. It's not King Mike L. Go Dolphins.